Delaware Court of Chancery has made public the 165-page document laying out Elon Musk's case alleging Twitter committed fraud. He wants clearly out of this deal, or at least a lower price. Charlie Gasperino, take it to us.
Thanks, Liz. I just want to say I thought that interview with Adam Aaron was fascinating. Thank you. Good job. The one thing I will say is where you should have probably pressed him on is, AMC does not have earnings. Okay, it has losses. AMC's box office is.
We said that.
He said earnings. I heard him say it. He said, we had wonderful. No, he said we had wonderful earnings. Well, he had better than expected lower losses. The box office is still behind 2019, and here's the other thing, and two more things: wicked dilution on these preferred. So that should be negative to shareholders long term if he taps into this. And the other thing is, if it's the same plan, only kind of a poor man's version of what Mark Cahotis pitched him. So it's very
dividend.
Yeah, very
1 cent dividend.
Very bizarre. Only
look
this
at
is
the
a
stock,
preferred.
Charlie, up 20%.
It's amazing. Now, he's a good salesman. I mean, other short sellers will say he's a good BSer. And I think he's a very capable CEO. I mean, he's got a rough hand and he's got a crazy investment rate.
And investors aren't stupid, so
some of them
I know
are.
what they're doing.
No, yeah, right.
All right. Next. Okay, get to this Elon Twitter thing. This is juicy.
Yeah, I mean, Liz, I read some of the suit. Most, a big portion. I'm sorry, I wasn't, looking at every single word in line. There's really nothing more in this counter argument than he's already said. And I think the big hurdle for him will be this: what was new that you discovered, and when you discovered it, what was that tipping point that was different, and whether the judge believes that's a real tipping point or not. And I think it's going to come down to that, Liz, because you read this thing, he was like, well, I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the deal, I'm ready to buy Twitter, and then, one day it popped in my head, well, I don't know if they've been making material misrepresentations and this and that. Okay, so what made him think that? What piece of material evidence pushed him over the top? It never says that in this thing. It just dances around it, and I think that's going to be his problem here. The market is still thinking there's going to be a deal. That's it, and that he's either going to be compelled to buy, or something's going to go, or they're going to reach a negotiation, and it's going to be lower than the 54.20, and that's what you see right there. Twitter is off its lows. So I mean, this is fascinating, Liz. I mean, I don't know if he could get away with saying, one day I was sitting on the John and I was like thinking, maybe there's a bot problem here. That they're not disclosing because he was talking about. It is pretty remarkable.
Well, did you see the counter response from Twitter? You see the counter response from Twitter? The counterclaims are made for litigation tale that is contradicted by the evidence and common sense.
Well, the common sense is what was and he still hasn't gotten there. I thought I'd see it. What was the spark in his head that said they were lying? And, was it the fact that, my currency, my Tesla stock is going down, so they must be lying now. Okay. I mean, I'm sure the judge is going to press him on that. It's just, and that's where it might come down to. Now, that said, this could get locked up for a year. It could screw around with Twitter's stock price. And because he's counter, and that's where a lot of people think they're still going to come to the table and do a deal.